Hey, it's Rod Yates here. Welcome to another episode of Humans of Music, a Jaxsta podcast. Each episode, I talk to a music creator or industry professional about their life and career, the ups and downs of their journey, and the lessons they've learned. And my special guest today is Adam Dutkiewicz, guitarist with Killswitch Engage and Times of Grace, and one of the most colourful characters in modern heavy metal. Because while Killswitch Engage's riffs are brutal and their lyrics drawn from emotionally dark places, when you see them live, you're just as likely to laugh as you are headbang, as Adam pulls faces while peeling off riffs, pokes fun at metal stereotypes, and sometimes even runs to the bar while playing to order a shot. He's a man of many talents. When he started Killswitch in 1999, he was actually the drummer before moving to guitar. And he's as well known for his production work as he is his own music, having studied at Berklee and worked with bands like Parkway Drive, Under Oath, and The Devil Wears Prada. This interview actually took place last year when Adam was promoting the latest album by Times of Grace called Songs of Loss and Separation. Times of Grace is his side project with Killswitch Engage vocalist Jesse Leach. And just to give you a bit of context, Jesse was the original singer in Killswitch before quitting in 2002 when they were supporting their second album, Alive or Just Breathing. He eventually rejoined the band when his replacement, Howard Jones, left in 2012, but before that happened, Adam and Jesse teamed up in Times of Grace. We talk about Adam's entire life and career in this interview, but we started by talking about the differences between the first Times of Grace album, 2011's The Hymn of a Broken Man, and their latest record, Songs of Loss and Separation.
You know, there was definitely an effort to, vary this and change it up a bit from something that sounds like Killswitch Engage. Just because, when we made that first record, the Times of Grace record, Jesse was not in Killswitch Engage at that time. So I guess I wasn't really thinking about that at that time. I was just writing that music just to write it and keep my mind occupied during a strange time in my life. So now while making this record, with that in mind, I definitely thought it was like, you know what, it's time to try something different. There are songs in there that are still, heavy and loud and, kind of chunky and metalish. But it was just liberating to be able to do other sounds and, create something different. And I know Jesse feels the same way. So shouldn't be the same band,
Were there certain places you were able to go that you had really wanted to go to for a long time?
It's not really something I thought about, in depth, but it felt natural and fun, and just, it was rewarding to be able to do something different and unique instead of the kind of the music styles that we've been doing the last 20 years,
Right. Were there any areas that took you out of your comfort zone?
Oh, well, whenever I'm singing, it's completely out of my comfort zone. So yeah, I'm still working on the confidence thing. I don't know. I guess the whole record is uncomfortable if you think about, how it's personal and it's about sharing not so easy things and dark times in our lives. So yeah, I guess you could say the whole thing's a bit uncomfortable,
And I guess that's something it perhaps does have in common with the first record, because that was written
right
at a point in your life when you were recovering from serious back surgery. I think for a disc herniation. Jesse had various sort of turmoil in his personal life, and I guess all of that got funneled into that first Times of Grace record. Where were you at in your lives as you were writing this record?
So it's funny, whenever we were going through some other form of turmoil the last 10 years or so, I would, kind of, scratch some things down or, put, just kind of capture that moment in lyrics whenever I could. And I know Jesse did the same. So I feel like it was definitely a slow go, but all the songs are sourced from like tough situations and things that we had to go through over the last 10 years. Yeah.
Is there a song on the record that's particularly close to the bone for you?
Well, it's funny. I think all of them have become close to me because of, we ended up co-writing most of the material, and everything that Jesse went through on this record, for the most part, I've gone through the same scenarios, and it just kind of bring back all of those, those memories and those dark times. And so it's funny. It was an experience where it was like we were almost sharing stories to one another, like, oh man, when that happened to me, blah, 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 or it's happening to me now, blah, blah, blah. So it's almost like we're like became counselors to each other, I guess. You know what I mean?
But is that what Times of Grace has come to represent for you? It's this bond between you and Jesse, and that idea of being counselors.
We do have a great musical bond together. And yeah, deep down inside, I feel like we have a great human connection too. You know, we've been friends for over 20 years now. So yeah. So yeah, of course you're going to have a connection with somebody like that, you know?
Yeah. There is an obvious darkness to the album, but I do also see little glimmers of light in there. And one of the recurring themes seems to be that idea of being there to help someone. You know, if you think of a song like Mend You, it's got that lyric, I will never turn away from you. In Rescue, if you ever need me, I will run to you. So there is that element of support, of wanting to support someone through a bad time while acknowledging that these dark things happen. Is that what this music also represents to you, that idea of support and hope?
Well, and you do need support at times. You know, things can get that dark and that troublesome to an individual where they, you know, it's good for them to reach out and ask for help. So yeah, that's always, you know, something we want to incorporate with some of the messages on the record. But you know, obviously, there's other songs in the record that don't incorporate that at all. So it's
right.
You know, little smatterings of hope here and there, I suppose, are a good thing. So yeah.
So is it once it was all complete, or at least the writing was complete, and you had this outlet for these emotions and these feelings, did it feel like a weight had been lifted? Was there a catharsis to making this record?
Yeah, you could say that for sure. You know, obviously we feel vulnerable sharing, you know, material like this with people, but yeah, it just felt good to make, you know, at the end of the day. It's like, oh, cool. Well, that was a moment in my life, you know, and now it's over, and, you know, I have a piece of music to show from it, you know, so yeah, I guess you can call that cathartic. Yeah.
And does that impact the actual recording process itself?
I don't think so. You know, I still feel like that's the same no matter what, but it's the creation of it, you know, while we're writing it, or, you know, I think us shooting ideas back and forth and the stories that come with it. Yeah, obviously those change.
Okay. I saw an interview with you, I think it was perhaps as long as 3 years ago, that you were talking about this record. Has this record been years in the making?
Years and years. Yeah, probably almost 8 years or something like that. I don't know. I started writing bits and pieces after the last record cycle. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, it's like whenever, you know, I was going through something, I would try to write lyrics and jot them down. And it's been, you know, that kind of vibe for, God, I don't know how long, maybe 7 years. Yeah, it's a very slow process, but, you know, here it is.
And what made now the right time to make it then?
Oh, COVID. Yeah. Well, we were chipping away slowly. And then obviously when we were left with absolutely nothing to do, it just made all the sense in the world to, you know, button it up and get it done.
So was it done remotely? Were you actually able to work together?
Yeah, it was, I want to say we were working on the vocals together before all of the pandemic struck. Yeah, it was pretty much finished up except for me recording a lot of the guitars and basses and whatnot. So yeah, I think he would fly to me or I'd fly to him, and we'd chip away whenever we could.
It seems to be a very well titled record, the, you know, Songs of Loss and Separation, because there does seem to, certainly that seems to be another theme which runs throughout these songs, whether it's loss of a relationship or perhaps loss of someone's life. Are those the kind of themes that very much inform the record? Absolutely.
You just, you know, hit two major topics on the record. Several songs are about those two things. And, you know, it really is just losing something in your life that means a lot to you. You know, I feel like you can have a connection with these songs, or that losing anything in your life, you know, even losing a dog, even, you know what I mean? Like just, I lost my mind when I had to say goodbye to my dog, but like just this losing something that means so much to you, it's just a hard thing to go through, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so you, on the first record, you did all the instrumentation, but I understand on this record you had Dan from Envy on the Coast do the drums. Is that correct?
Yeah, we hired him right after the creation of the first record to tour with us. and we just hit it off. And he's been like such a close friend to us. I was like, well, I don't want to do anything without this guy. He's got to be involved with everything. So yeah, made sure he was on the record. And he's just an incredible drummer.
So you're handling the bass, the guitar. Clearly, you are a multi-instrumentalist. You've obviously drummed on the first record. You drummed early on in Killswitch Engage as well. Am I right in thinking that the first instrument that you learned was bass? Was that the first one?
Actually, the first thing I ever tried was drums, but it went drums, bass, guitar. Yeah.
Okay. When you say the first thing you tried was drums, did you start trying and then go to bass, or did you sort of get good at drums and then move on to bass?
Oh God, it was so long ago. I don't know, man. I don't even know if it was acceptable at that point. I guess I was just bouncing around. I was just curious with all the instruments that were in my parents' basement, because my brother had a kind of like a garage band, and I was just like, cool, I want to try, and then just started picking things up and giving them a go,
Okay. Do you know, again, long time ago, roughly how old you would have been when you showed that interest?
Oh God, probably 15. Yeah,
okay.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
And in terms of, what was your brother's band like? What were they playing?
Bad music. No.
Like covers?
I don't know. I think it was mostly like punk rock. Yeah, like punk rock, hardcore stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And was that what was informing your musical tastes back then as well? Like, how were you learning about music?
Right. My brother was a big part of me getting into like the heavier side of stuff. But I'll tell you, my world changed once I heard Metallica. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do right there. I was like, that down picking is awesome. And I love palm muting. And, all of a sudden James Hetfield is my hero, along with Eddie Van Halen too, obviously. But
is that around about that time of 15?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Eddie Van Halen was, from when I was a little kid, I always loved Van Halen, they were just so attainable. There's on every radio station ever, so
right.
You'd hear Van Halen all over the place. But Metallica, not so much back then.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what record would that have been that you heard first from Metallica?
It's funny. I think it was Puppets and Justice, and Justice was the one where I was like, I really want to like learn that because of just the sound of the record and how tight it was and mechanical sounding, and especially with that clicky kick drum.
Yeah.
But after that, I was just like, I want to learn every Metallica song possible.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Justice is probably my favorite album too, but it's interesting given that you went on to learn to play bass, that of all the Metallica albums, that would be the one.
Oh, I know, right? Well, it's funny. Yeah. It's like, I was, obviously primarily concerned with playing guitar on Metallica stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hysterical.
So you grew up in West Hampton in Massachusetts, if I understand correctly.
Yep.
Which I understand is quite a small place.
Less than 1,000 people. Yeah.
What was it like to grow up there?
Lots of farmland, woods, not much to do except go outside and get dirty and do yard work and then play Nintendo.
What did your parents do? What took them there?
My father was an electric engineer in charge of the power grid distribution in all of New England. And my mother was a preschool teacher.
Really?
Yes.
Did she teach you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah.
Yeah. Free schooling, right?
That's it. And was there much music in the house? Were they into music?
Yeah, they listen to music. They didn't really play anything. I think my mother played in the high school band, but never played after that. And then my father like kind of tinkered with guitar chords here and there, but nothing really. But there was always music on in the house. Yeah.
Okay. Like what sort of, just radio?
Radio. A lot of John Denver and the Moody Blues and very 70s and early 80s oriented,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when do you think you heard something that you thought, right, you mentioned Eddie Van Halen earlier. Was it hearing Van Halen that made you think, the music's got something?
I think I was just always interested in rock radio from the time I was a kid. Just loved rock and roll, and then obviously hit my my later years, I'm like, needs to be heavier, man. Needs to be heavier. Yeah.
That's it. But you and your brother are obviously very musically inclined. If he had that band in your parents' basement, where do you think that desire to actually pick up instruments came from?
I think just primarily from the love of music, just loved it. I was always listening to music. And so it was, just the love of it,
Okay. What was the first record you bought?
Oh God, I can't tell you. I should say, in honor of your beautiful country, maybe an AC/DC record, because they were also a tremendous influence as well. It's so hard to tell. That was so long ago, man.
I know.
Can't remember. Like, I don't even remember owning vinyl. Maybe I just jumped straight to cassettes. I can't tell.
It's a long time ago, I know.
Yeah, I remember 8-tracks as well.
Really?
Oh yeah, yep. My father's truck had an 8-track player. Yeah.
What kind of stuff would he play in there?
Oh geez, I don't like the same thing, like like Moody Blues or just all that vibe, like that late 70s, early 80s vibe. Yeah.
Okay. And so while all this is going on and you're hearing all this music in your head and on the radio, what kind of kid are you? Were you a good kid? Were you a rambunctious child?
No, I was a good kid. Quiet, kept to myself. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Fat kid. Absolutely. Yeah.
A fat kid.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And did music offer you something that was it sanctuary, or was it because being a fat kid can perhaps not be great sometimes. I imagine there might be some teasing involved.
Oh yeah, bit of bullying, absolutely. No, it was just always it was always fun. Music was always an enjoyment, it's just satisfying to listen to, just a good time, especially like bands like Van Halen and AC/DC. How can you not have a good time listening to that?
That's it. Were there other interests?
No, just mostly video games and music. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in your teens and your brother's got his band downstairs. You've heard Metallica. You love the downpicking. You've already learned to start sort of playing drums. Is that what your teens consisted of? Just learning these instruments? Yep.
That, and then just finding other people within my high school to jam with and play ideas with, and then after that, I formed my first band, and then just creating music all the time became a new thing for me, and that was fun. And teaching myself songs, I would listen to it and try to figure it out on my own. Things like that, yeah. And I really feel like that's the moment that really started shaping me as a musician, because you train your ear by listening and then trying to figure it out. And it's like, I hear them playing that. How do they play that without an instruction? It's a big part of shaping you as an instrumentalist, I think.
Yeah. And you mentioned Metallica. Were there other acts that you were trying to learn their songs?
Oh, anything. I was just a sponge. I wanted to learn whatever I was listening to. Yeah.
Okay. So was your first band formed at school?
No, it was with my brother actually. And then yes, some classmates, partially at school, I guess.
Okay. What did you play?
We played mostly hardcore / metal. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Because I guess Massachusetts had quite a big scene for that sort of
stuff.
It
did. Absolutely. And it was a great environment to grow up in. Supportive, lots of bands, lots of people interested in the same genre, which it was such an underground thing at that point. Metal really wasn't a thing and hardcore wasn't a thing on the radio. And so it was really fun to be a part of.
Yeah. Do you remember the first show you played?
Oh God, no. Probably being terrified, I would assume, being in front of people. It took me quite a while to be able to be comfortable in front of people. So I know that. But now I just don't care. It's like, what, I've done it before, and I've done embarrassing things on stage. It's not a big deal. It'll be all right, man.
When did you think you got comfortable?
I don't know, just maybe several years in.
Okay.
I've been playing live music since, I don't know, like the late 90s. Now it's not a big, I think it's more nerve-wracking to play in front of one person than it is to play in front of 50,000,
Did you always take it seriously? Even from that first show, was it a serious endeavor for you?
No, it was kind of like, there's a chance in hell this is going to work out.
Mm.
So it was like, I'll give it a go and see what happens, and at the end of the day, I can say, at least I tried.
Sure. What point did you buy a 4-track recorder?
Oh God. Maybe when I was 16, and that was tons of fun. Yeah. Just, getting sounds and putting songs together. It's just, that was so much fun for me. Yeah.
Where did that interest come from?
Don't know. I guess maybe from one of my musician friends. Maybe somebody else had some kind of recording device, and I was like, that's cool. I want one. And then got one for myself, and then was just able to start putting things together on my own. Bada bing, there it was.
Yeah. And that set a light bulb off, did it? Because I know that you went, after you finished school, you went to Berkeley to study music production and engineering and bass. So that was really quite formative for you, getting that 4-track. That obviously sparked something in your head that, this is something I could do.
Yeah, absolutely. You could say that for sure.
What was it like arriving at Berkeley? Because I can imagine that could be quite an intimidating place.
You just nailed it. Intimidating. I didn't want to be a guitar major just because of the number of guitarists that apply and are accepted at Berkeley. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they're all like crazy, like John Petrucci worshipers and, so it's just like, I kind of don't fit in with that sea of people. So I just thought, maybe I'll just major in bass. And, honestly, I was thinking I wasn't going to spend much time on my performance studies versus my music production studies.
And I mean, I guess surely with bass players, just as other people are studying John Petrucci, you've probably got a lot of John Mayung. Is it John Mayung, the bass player in Dream Theater? I think.
Oh, I don't even know.
My point being that surely there's a lot of people who are trying to be virtuoso bass players as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of Jaco Pastorius wannabes, that kind of stuff. So yeah. But it was still comfortable and fun though. I think there's all walks of life there as far as interests and like styles, and it's just they really sell it as a contemporary school. So there's a lot of jazz studies as well as rock studies, and so it's all over the gamut. All different styles of music and people who love playing different styles.
Sure. So it was intimidating when you got there. Did you feel like you belonged though?
I guess. Yeah. Obviously I love music, so it was just, and it's strange to think about going to school, going to uni for that too. It's just such a tough gig to maintain. You hear about so many people graduating from that school and then not being able to find their way, so
yeah,
that was also an intimidating part of it. If you think about it, I was like, cool, well, I'm going to drop all this money into studies and then hopefully it pays off in the long run. Well, it's definitely strange.
Yeah. And do they equip you once you've graduated to actually go out into the real world?
Well, besides the studies, no, not really. It's like, cool, we've taught you your thing. You got your diploma, now piss off, But funny story, I was handed my diploma from David Bowie. He was the honorary commencement speaker. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was a trip, man.
So how does all that, like you just walk up on stage and he shakes your hand? How does it work?
He gave a speech and then we get our diplomas for him. We get to shake his hand and yeah, it's cool.
Was it inspiring?
I don't know if it was inspiring. It was just like, it was a cool moment.
Sure. That's incredible.
Yeah.
After the break, Adam talks about the early days of Killswitch Engage, his onstage antics, and much more. Welcome back to Humans of Music and my interview with Adam Dutkiewicz. Was it at Berkeley that you met Joel? Joel, is it Strutzel? Is that how you pronounce Joel's surname?
It's Stressel, yeah.
Right.
No, actually, he's from a couple towns away from where I grew up. I met him. We were both teaching guitar at a music store / instructional school in his town. So yeah, we were both teachers. And then he's like, "Oh, I know your band." And I'm like, "Oh, you do? You want to join it? Because we need a guitar player." So,
right.
Yeah. And then right away, I was just like, "This kid's great. He's a great guitar player." And funny story about him joining Killswitch. He didn't want to join any other bands. he was just like, I'm good with this one. And I told him I was starting a new band. He's like, I'm good, man. You should try to someone else. And I just invited Mike, the Killswitch bass player, to his house one morning, and I was playing drums. And I told him like, oh, it's going to be practice for our other band. So he's like, oh, okay. So then, Mike shows up with me and he's like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, let's give it a shot, man. So yeah, Joel has to thank me for his career in Killswitch Engage. So there you go.
That's it.
Fooled him good.
So when you were teaching, was that while you were still at Berkeley, or was that pre-Berkeley or post?
It was during Berkeley. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And at what point, because I know you started interning at some studios as well, was that after you left Berkeley or while you were there?
I believe it was during like the last year or so. I started interning. Yeah. Just to get my hands dirty.
Yeah. What did you learn in that? It's
funny. If you want to go into the music production and engineering field, I feel like the more time you spend interning, I feel like you can learn more through doing that than attending a university. Just experience is everything.
Was the reality of that job, was there anything about it that surprised you compared to what you thought it might be like?
No, it's just, I guess assuming you understand going into that gig, it's going to be extremely long hours and laborious days trying to talk band members and performers through their, putting their songs together. So
right. Okay. And was there a telemarketing job in there as well to make ends meet?
Oh yeah. Wow, you've done quite a bit of research, huh? It's like you know my life better than me right now. Jeez. Yep. I had an office job during that time to pay the bills. Yep, for sure, because we weren't doing much with the band yet. So yeah, we were still like weekend warriors at that point at best.
Yeah. What sort of things did you have to market to sell?
Oh, musical instruments. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I still hated it because I think, having the job of a salesman is just the worst possible job you could have. Trying to convince people that they need something that they probably don't need. It's soulless, man. It's soulless.
So you had to cold call people? How did that work?
Yeah, I would have to do that. A lot of it was answering calls in. Not really my favorite job, but What are you going to do? It helped pay bills. So.
Exactly. So Aftershock forms while you're at Berkeley. Is that correct?
No, that was the high school band.
Oh, Aftershock was the high school band.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so that's a pretty serious band from early on.
Yeah, we weren't really that successful, to be honest with you. We didn't have a tremendous following, but for some reason, people in Japan liked us. So yeah. We did my first tour ever was a tour of Japan. So there you go.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Was that the first time you left the States?
Yes.
I mean, what were you thinking? Music has brought you a tour of Japan.
Yeah, back then I was just like, I'm pretty sure I cried at one point just thinking like something I created all on my own. People across the world are finding this much enjoyment, and it's pretty insane. Yeah. So to think about that,
And what did you learn from that tour? That must be a steep learning curve.
I didn't learn much, except that was a lot of fun. So that was about it. It's like, wow, this is a good time. I'd love to do more of this. This is fantastic. So, yeah.
Wow. Japan is such a great place.
I love it. Oh man. Yeah.
You mentioned that story earlier about how Joel got into Killswitch. But so what is the process of Aftershock morphing into not morphing into Killswitch, but you moving into Killswitch? How did that eventuate?
So yeah, we were playing small club shows around the Northeast, and Joel's joined at that point. And I think one day we played with Mike's old band, Overcast, and I just got talking with Mike, and we were just talking about maybe starting something up, and we were both looking to do that. Like, yeah, we should probably get together and jam. And then just Mike and I, like bass and drums, we'd meet up and start rehearsing some ideas, and it just started gelling and it made sense. And then we were trying out guitarists here and there. And I'm like, you know what? I got a guy. And that's when I had to convince Joel secretly to join, I guess. Yeah.
And so the from what I understand, the idea was that, well, let's just give this a go. There was no 5-year plan. There was no 10-year plan. There was no great stars in your eyes. Was that the case?
Right. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, it was just like, if I don't try it, I'll never know. So, yeah, just gave it a go. And, we're like, I was working my day job at that time and, hawking instruments over the telephone. And it's like, it's worth a shot. Let's see what we can do. And then we got offered our first tour, and then I quit that job because I was thinking like, these opportunities keep coming. At least just try it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any, expectations at all.
Did you get a sense early on that you had something special though?
No, no, not at all. Just making music and having fun doing it,
And that's it.
It's that simple.
In some ways, is that the secret?
Maybe, I guess, just be, you have to have a passion for it, obviously. But I truly feel this is probably different than what most people would say. But I feel you shouldn't take yourself too seriously with it too. So
right. And I was watching a documentary on Killswitch, and I think Jesse was talking about some of those early shows and the early tours. You drive for 5 hours to play for 10 people. Do you still, as grim as that could be, do you have good memories of those times?
Well, yeah, obviously, hanging out with friends. That's really it. It's like, laughing a lot and just hanging out. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
Yeah, obviously, some of the shows really sucked, but I guess that's all part of the gig, man. At least back then it was. Who knows? Now you can be an internet sensation before you even go play any shows. You know what I mean? Like,
that's it.
We barely had internet, man. We barely had an internet.
Did you find yourself in some sketchy situations in terms of having to find somewhere to sleep at night and all that kind of stuff?
No. We usually, since Mike was already touring so much with his other band, he'd have connections with like, hey, my friend will let us crash there. And everyone was always really cool. Nothing really too sketchy. I think Mike did all the dirty work for us.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And is it true that when you decided to switch from drums to guitar, one of the reasons was because you couldn't get drunk playing drums?
Well, that and there's less stuff to set up. Yeah,
that's true. Less stuff to
there's
carry.
Way less stuff. Oh yeah. So I was like, I always liked guitar, so I was like, hey, why not?
Yeah. It's pretty. I know you play down your talents, but it's pretty remarkable that you could go from being a great drummer to then being a great guitar player. And I know you probably wouldn't say that you're great, but
I'm not. No.
From a listening perspective, though, well, you sure do a good job of making.
They say jack of all trades, master of none, right?
But to have that luxury to be able to do that, I think, is pretty special.
It's definitely advantageous to have some sort of abilities with every instrument in the band, so I can communicate with all the other band members and immediately be able to tell them, like I know how to play your instrument, so I'm thinking this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not I know how to play your instrument, so you better watch out.
No. No.
So you start off, you release the first record on Ferret, and you're still quite a tiny band in Massachusetts, but then Alive or Just Breathing just brings you to sort of international attention. I think the first time I read about you was reading about you in Kerrang, so a British magazine. Was there a moment that you knew it was connecting? Like, hang on, this is going wider than Massachusetts. Well,
the moment we signed to Roadrunner, I knew that was going to open up a whole nother door of possibility. They have a much bigger span as far as distribution and whatnot. So yeah, I think that was a big moment when we got signed. We were like, all right, we're really going to be able to give it a go now because these people have a big reach, a record company of that size. So obviously they were able to get us attention overseas, right away. So.
And how did that change your life?
Well, it made us kind of go from thinking, I wonder if this is going to work out, to be like, this may work out, this is, it was a slow, process of let's see if we can make this work and pay the bills and get through it. And, and then, yeah, once we started noticing people, taking interest, we're like, oh, this is cool. This is great.
Yeah. What were some of were there sort of exciting times that you think of when you think about those days, whether it's going to England for the first time or
Yeah, I think going anywhere for the first time is always, a big moment just because I've never been here. And then you see, like, through your own two eyes, you can see you're connecting with a crowd of people that you don't even know what the hell they're saying. You can't speak German or Dutch or, it's just like, oh my God, these people, I don't know how to speak their language and they're here partying with us. And this is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What does it do to the band dynamics when you start to get that kind of success? And presumably things become more serious. Does that affect the inner workings of a band?
I don't know. I think if anything, I got less serious. It's like, this is great. I'm just going to go crazy and have fun. I didn't take it more serious. I took it less serious, to be honest with you. Just because, I feel like the catalyst behind, rock and roll is just have a good time, man. Like, it's metal.
Yeah.
Let it all out, man.
I would think in some ways that's easier said than done for some people. Some people couldn't help but actually take on some of that pressure. Was your reaction to it, I guess, a defense mechanism against that, perhaps? Maybe.
I'd like to think it was more so enjoy the moment. I try to be very carpe diem, the best I can, so I don't know if it was so much a defense mechanism as much as a holy crap, we're doing this, let's go go enjoy it.
And so you've been, I guess any band who's been together for 22 years is going to have their ups and their downs. And you think of some of those ups, which we just spoke about with the signing to Roadrunner, touring internationally. In terms of some of the downs, I imagine that Jesse leaving during the Alive or Just Breathing.
Oh yeah. I was really mad at Jesse for a little bit. Yeah. He even quit over email. So.
Right.
Yeah, you can't break up with a girlfriend over email, man. That's just, it's not right,
Totally. How long did it take for that bridge to rebuild?
I don't know. It's all was forgiven with me as soon as we got the ball rolling with Howard. And I was like, never mind, this guy's great. Who is the old guy? It's fine. And then I don't know. I guess after that, whatever communications I had with Jesse were great again. And it's like, yeah, all's forgiven, man. Don't worry about it. No harm done. And Howard's killing it. So.
Yeah. Was did you have a fear that it would be over when Jesse left? I mean, I remember again reading it in Kerrang, I think, and going, "Oh shit, is that it?"
That's the hardest member to replace, obviously. So yeah, I remember thinking, if that's the end of it, so be it. That was a good time, but it's just insane how things seem to actually pick up after we got Howard. It's just like, and the immediate acceptance of Howard was just incredible. Especially in the Northeast, since Howard came from other bands that were known. So our first show together with him was the Hellfest in Syracuse, and it was just an overwhelming, just welcoming of, nothing's changed. We still like your band, and we like your new singer already. So, yeah.
What a relief!
Yeah, it was great. That was a great moment.
Yeah, and then in terms of blooding someone in new to the band, how do you do that? You just get up and play, or are there is it a slow process? How does it even work?
He's a nice guy, and it meshed right away. I think we got on personally, and then right from there, like this guy's cool. I mean, it was that easy.
And then again in 2012, when he decides to leave, are you again facing that situation that perhaps this
same
is over?
thing? I'm literally, I wasn't crushed. I wasn't destroyed. I was just like, if that's it, it's time to move on and do something else, man. But if we can pick up the pieces and find something else that'll work, let's give it a shot.
Right. So there must, even though you're saying that if that's over, then it's over, but you obviously have a determination. Like, you're obviously a determined person to pull through this.
Well, you got to try. If you don't try, you can't say you tried. You're just setting yourself up to not have that be a possibility.
Sure. What about the back issues which you suffered in 2007, which I guess, coming full circle, led to that First Times of Grace record? Mm-hmm. When you're lying in a hospital bed in London, you had very real fears that you would not be able to play and tour again with Killswitch Engage. Is that right?
I was really injured with that one. Really, I was having trouble walking and everything, and just not getting around very well. So yeah, I guess I'm the kind of person, when I'm left alone with my own thoughts, it can go into a very strange place. So that's why I try to keep my brain occupied with coming up with random musical ideas while lying around in a hospital bed. So yeah, just like this COVID thing, man. I went to a really strange place because you leave me alone with my own thoughts. It always turns out to be a really bad thing, So I need to be occupied, the Rolling Stone gathers no moss kind of thing,
Those musical ideas you came up with while you were in your hospital bed in London, are they just in your head? Did you have an instrument there? How are you even recording them?
In my head or recording it on my phone or a lot of stuff in my head though. Just keeping them kind of set up placed in different places in my brain. And, it would start with one major theme and that theme would turn into something else. And then I would take that home and just elaborate on those themes or theme, as it were.
Right. Okay. But so there is a real desire on your behalf to find that positivity. Is there, do you, in terms of you wanting to keep your brain busy and steer clear of some of the paths that your brain may take you, you seem to have a desire to try and find a positivity in these such situations. Who is that, right? And who instilled that in you, do you think?
I feel like if you don't do that, you can drive yourself crazy. And I have no idea where I got that from. Probably my parents. But when during this whole COVID scenario, I hurt my back again. So I was laid out on the couch for 3 months, couldn't really do much. And same thing happened. I would find my brain going into, thinking about all the bad stuff instead of all the good stuff, So it's just, I think that's a good thing for anyone who's, left with too much time on their hands, they should, just use that time creatively if you can and have something to keep your brain stimulated and occupied,
Was there more music created during that 3-month period when you were on your back?
I've written some stuff over the pandemic for sure. A good amount actually, but who knows what I do with it,
Yeah. You were talking earlier about your level of comfort on stage and how you just at some point became very comfortable and didn't really even take it that seriously in terms of your on-stage demeanor. And, I've seen you play live many times and there's internet footage of you, leaving the stage, walking through the crowd to order a shot of whiskey at the bar while playing the whole time and then walking back to the bar. Where did this, and quite a lot of what you do on stage, I guess, plays against metal stereotypes. Where did that come from, that desire to play against that? Was it just natural for you to try and be a shit stirrer?
Yeah, I feel like it's more metal and punk rock to try to not fit into stereotypes and just be yourself, So, like I said, I try to enjoy the moment and, have a good time with whatever we're doing, and nothing makes me happier than running off the stage, trying to so no one sees me, running to the bar and just start up a conversation with the guy at the bar, because it's usually blows their mind. They'll look at me real quick and then they'll look back and their eyes are huge, just be looking at the stage what? I don't get it. It's just, I just love that moment of disconnect in this person's face. You're like, you shouldn't be here. I'm like, I am. When I have a drink together, I'm usually just like, these guys suck, huh?
Have things ever gone awry when you've done something like that?
Just spilled drinks. I've gotten my transmitter pack wet. No, everyone's always really nice. Oh, some guy tried to pick a fight with me once.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, what are you doing, man? I got to get back to work. We'll talk about this later. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do? Stop the show? No. Come on.
Did you bump him or something? Or what?
Oh, no. He was pushing me. I'm like, he's probably just drunk or something. I don't know. I was just like, all right, man, I got to get back to work. Sorry, dude. What am I going to do?
Is it true that what did the first time you did that, the first time you came on stage or wearing a cape, or you were backstage and you were putting it on, or you were in those tight jean shorts or something, do your bandmates ever look at you and go, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, back in the day, there'd be especially Mike would be, I think he was bummed on I think Shadows Fall painted me up as a Fifth Kiss member or something, and he's just like, what the hell are you doing, man? What are you doing? It's just like, yeah. I've definitely gotten strange like reactions from my band members. Just like, obviously it's always stupid, lighthearted shit, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think they always knew that, deep down, it wasn't something to like try to, be an asshole or be a jerk to anybody. It was just more so like, maybe it's kind of funny, but I don't really get it, whole time I'm just like, who cares, man? Let's just have a laugh and go on,
But I think that's one of the charming things about Killswitch Engage is that you all are your own people up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't play to that stereotype of metal.
Yeah, who wants to be just like everybody else? Be yourself,
Absolutely. Am I right? Was there a doll made of you in Japan last year? Has that come to fruition?
Yeah, there was all these little Japanese toys. I don't mind, like Mike and my brother, they both collect Japanese figures and stuff like that. So there's a whole world, and like they get expensive, man. It's like crazy. But yeah, my brother knew a guy who wanted to help him make like a quick just action figure dude, whatever. I don't know. So
okay.
Yeah. I don't even have one. I don't care. So it's just, that's not my world, man. It's not my world.
I do like the name though, the Drunk Beast. I thought that was
Oh, is that really what it's called?
Apparently.
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah.
Just before we finish up, Jaxsta is all about giving credit where credit is due. Are there people that you give credit to for helping you get where you are today?
Oh, just my parents for sitting through countless hours of me making noise in their house, and having to deal with that. I can't imagine. Like, I don't have children. If they wanted to play drums all the time, I'd be like, oh God, So.
Is that what was that all in the basement, or was that in your room? Where was that happening?
Oh, it'd be in the basement. It would be in my room. It moved around the house in various different places, depending on what was going on. Yeah.
And were they always accepting of it?
Absolutely. Yeah, they were.
Was there a moment where you were able to show them, hey, this all worked out?
Yeah, I think the fact that I can show them like, hey, we play all over the world, and we have a couple gold records. I think that's something I can prove to them. Like, hey, thanks for putting up with me. I at least did something with it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What does that mean to you? The gold records?
It's weird. It's strange. It's obviously cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I've earned it or anything. It's just like, I guess a lot of people bought that record. That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
Adam, thanks so much for your time. It's really great to talk to you. I appreciate it.
All right. No problem at all.
And that's it for another episode of Humans of Music. A big thanks to Adam for his time, and thank you for listening. If you have any feedback on the show or suggestions on who you'd like me to interview, or even if you just want to say hello, please drop me a line at humansofmusic@jaxsta.com. That's humansofmusic, one word, at Jaxsta, JAXSTA.com. This episode was mixed by Lachlan Mitchell from Parliament Studios in Annandale, and the incidental music and theme song were written and performed by Sam Lockwood. Please remember to subscribe to the Humans of Music podcast so you never miss an episode, or even better, share it amongst your friends and rate and review it. And remember, next time you need to know who wrote a song, who produced a song, who engineered it, who played on it, who sang on it, who did anything on it, head to jaxsta.com for all your official music credit information. Until the next episode of Humans of Music, I'm Rod Yates. Thanks for listening.